Hello, Tristan.
Yes,
Yeah,
Clayton.
yeah. Thank you for giving up some of your Sunday.
No, I'm happy to be here. I might be a bit bleary because I had a big day yesterday. Went to Winton, so that was 6 hours of driving because it's 3 hours there and 3 hours back. But yeah, I think I've given myself enough leeway. It's 11 a.m. here, so no excuses.
Ah, yeah, sweet as. Yeah. Um, I just come across your app a few months ago now, and I hadn't come across another like car related app before, and I thought it was pretty cool idea. So I just thought I'd have a yarn to you about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much it
that's
really.
dude. Like, I'm honored to have the recognition of have someone be like, "Hey, I want to talk about the thing you've made." Because for me, it's it's definitely a side project at the moment. Obviously, something I want to make my full time gig. Um, but yeah, just having people like yourself look at it and go, "That's cool," is great for me. Like, I get so much out of that. So thanks.
But so I guess you are. What do you do for a job? Like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this a?
I am a back end engineer, software engineer, as a career job. I've been doing that for 7 or 8 years now, and yeah, I just kind of with the skills that I have, and being a car guy, I was like, I made something that I wanted to exist because I was using a Google Docs. I was just using Google Docs like a spreadsheet to keep track of when I do oil changes and various other mods to my cars, um, part numbers, that kind of stuff. And yeah, just kind of wanted something that was a little bit more intuitive, easy to use, nice experience. So yeah, made something for myself, essentially.
Yeah. So the app's called Pitloon. Yeah. Where does that come from?
Uh, I deliberated on this name for a little bit, and it comes from so people who work on their own cars are often in the pits or in the garage, and they're also a bit crazy. It's not
Yeah.
something that you make money off or whatever. So loony. So yeah, pit loon.
Yeah. That does make sense. Yep. It is
I also
quite
wanted like a
ridiculous how much time I spend in the garage. So yeah.
I just wanted I don't know. Everyone, when they have an idea, they go, "Oh man, this could get big, and this could be a huge thing." And you kind of go, "All right, well, what's a cool name that like would stick?" And I know it doesn't like, it's not like car app or anything like that, but it's a name that I'm really happy with. Like, what, we're a year and a half into the app being live, and yeah, couldn't be happier with it.
Yeah. So you launched this back then in
June
2020.
2024. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that was when it. Well, it was within about 4 weeks of each other. I released it on iOS and Android. It actually started during COVID times, like a lot of side projects do. Um, and yeah, I just made it as a website to start off with. It was just, I mean, it technically is still a website. Like, if you go to pitloon.com, you'll have the same experience if you as if you were on the app. But yeah, I'm not a mobile app developer actually, so that's not where my skill set is. So I had to kind of leave my comfort zone to figure out how to get it on the App Store. Because people just don't want to hear about anything. If as soon as you say a website, you're like, "Oh yeah, I've made this thing. Go to www," and they're just like eyes glaze over. No one gives a shit, you know. So yeah, having it as an app that you can just go, yeah, it's on the App Store, really kind of removes all barriers for people to use it.
Yeah. It was for your cars originally,
Yeah,
as you were using it just to record. Like, what vehicles uh, do you
yeah. So
have?
I see you've got a Nissan
Oh,
set
there's
of
some Sylvias and
yeah,
GDRs in the
Sylvias and
back.
Skylines and stuff. So I'm very much a JDM fanboy. Um, and the car that I have currently that I've owned the longest, I can actually probably show you. I don't know if the video is going to be shown to anyone, but
Oh yeah, it'll be on YouTube and Spotify's video. Oh
there's
yeah,
my
yeah.
Nissan Stagia. So that's the 260 RS variant.
Yeah,
So the one that comes with the RB20, essentially the running gear out of a
yeah.
R33 GTR. And I bought that back in 2012. So I thankfully missed out on what I'm going to call the GTR tax.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just, you don't buy cars as an investment, but somehow that car's worth double what I paid for it back in the day. So I made it for that car. I also, during COVID, bought a Datsun 280ZX, which was a non-runner, and that was one that it was actually probably the main car that I built Pitloon for, because I knew there was a lot to be done to get it working and on the road, and I thought, all right, I need to start keeping track of all the stuff I've done to it. So if you go to like pitloon.com, the demo car is that 280ZX.
What was I gonna say? So when you have to build an app
Yeah.
like that, just like I have no idea. I do welding and all that sort of stuff. How much is involved in getting, something like that to work on a phone?
Yeah. So to put it lightly, like I couldn't do it by myself the traditional way. And when I say the traditional way, normally when you have someone build an app, you have someone who specializes in iOS and someone who specializes in Android, because they're two different technologies. And you have someone who builds the back end or the website or, that kind of stuff. So you have three people already that you're kind of coordinating to make something. But the way Pitloon works is it's a mobile-friendly website. So if you were to scale down your browser and just view it, it would look identical to what's on the apps. And that's by design. So what's actually happening behind the scenes with the apps is, think of the iOS and the Android apps just like a window where it opens up the website behind the scene. And that's it. So it's actually not that complicated. And it means that as a solo developer, I only have to, yes, once I've got those two apps up and running, in theory, to update everything, the website, the iOS app, the Android app, I just have to make one change to the website, and then it immediately is available on all of them because of that setup.
Oh, yeah, because when I first downloaded it, it sort of reminded me a bit, apart from like the car spotting aspect of it, it reminded me of an old, do you remember the WordPress blogs? Were you ever into those? Because when I first got into cars a long, long time ago, that was the thing to do was to have your blog, and then you'd just post some photos, and then you'd post this is what I did, or this is where we went, and blah blah blah. And so it sort of reminded me of that era of the of the car internet, I guess you could call it.
You're kind of touching on a good point here, which is of a similar era, or maybe even earlier than that, is forums, right? As car people, the forums are like a treasure trove, but they're getting harder and harder to pillage, so to speak, because either the forum gets shut down because no one's using it anymore, or you go to some how-to guide and all of the image links are broken because the hosting's just no longer existent. So, I mean, even to this day, I'll search for an answer to some car-related problem, and more often than not, a forum post will come up as the answer. So, I haven't added the functionality yet to Pitloon.
I was just about to ask, how hard is that to put into?
So one of my goals is to kind of not replace forums, but allow people to discover guides or how-tos, or it doesn't even have to be a guide. It's almost like someone will have the most niche car with some niche problem, and they're like, here's how I fixed it. And then someone on the other side of the world might be like, oh my God, that's the same problem I'm having. And they'll find value in that one thing. And it might be just those two people that are interacting, but that's great. So loosely. I haven't kind of planned it out yet, but right now when you work on your car and you add stuff to Pitloon, it's more of a personal timeline. It's like, hey, I did XYZ, here's the days that I did it, here's the part numbers, just useful for an individual. And I guess if someone else comes across your car and they go, oh, what turbo's in it? Great, you can look that up. Easy to find. But like how you achieved something, how you solved a problem, you can't really do that yet. And yeah, I'm planning to have people be able to create kind of what you mentioned, almost like mini blogs, like just a little like step by step. I did X, Y, Z to achieve this task, and then that'll just be tagged, almost like Instagram tags, you know, with like the year, make, model, or whatever. And that way, if you join Pitloon and you add your car, we can just go, hey, did you know there's all of these like how-tos for your particular car, or you know, cars within that vicinity, maybe not the exact same year or badge or whatever, you know. But yeah, so that's the goal. I would love for people to use Pitloon as a resource for figuring out how to do stuff to cars.
How much time does this all take to put something like this together?
Oh my god. Okay, so as it just kind of snowballs, I think, because it really just started off just as that logging aspect, right? Like it was just, you have your garage where you add vehicles, and then for each vehicle you have this timeline of whatever you've done to it. So it's just a list of it's kind of, I haven't tried to categorize things other than it's a photo, it's a note, it's a component, or it's a measurement. They're the kind of four things that you'll see if you go to add a loon, as I call it. So it's very like, you can do what you want. You can add anything really. But yeah, the rest of it, like a friend of mine suggested, well, it'd be cool if you could look at other people's cars and see that stuff. And that's where the spotting aspect came from. So yeah, at the moment I'm only working on it 1 day a week technically. And I say technically because I have 4 days that I have my full-time job. But am I doing 8 hours of work per week on Pitloon? No, it's more than that, because like, you could count what I did yesterday as work, you know, a whole day at Winton, had the marquee up, you know, like, how long's a piece of string? So, but I see it as a really, like, I want to do car stuff as my full-time job. So as much as like I have to get up early or do some extra work or whatever, I kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is, this is going to be a really good time if this takes off. So,
yeah. Yeah, because I've just sort of been trying to, I don't know, find little bits of car culture or whatever to try and, you know, focus on and build up a little bit by little bit, as much as I can, because, you know, otherwise it'll slowly die out. Or yeah, I you know, I really enjoy all this sort of car stuff and working on my cars. So
yeah, what cars do you have?
I have a MX-5, a S13, and a FDRX7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah, nice.
And then at the moment I'm working on my friend's Safiro, and yeah, I just do I do about 2 hours every night on them, doing various sort of things. So yeah, and then you see stuff like this, you know, and like the app you've made, I mean, and yeah, it's just like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I see, like, I was at a thing this morning. I went to a little car meet, hot rod meet, and last weekend went out to a little meet that they have every Sunday. And I see all the, you know, there's about 4 kids out there that do the car spotting. You know, they run all over the show, get the cars arriving, take videos of the cars, and then, you know, get them leaving and all that. And then they'll put videos together, put them on Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. And so that was interesting for me to see, you know, them doing that. And they're, you know, young. They don't even have licenses or cars. And these kids, you know, they're car spotting. So something like Pitloon, where they have the spotting aspect, you know, I saw that and I was like, oh, that would be interesting for the kids. And it would be a good way to, you know, what do you call
get them
it?
involved.
Get them all involved.
Like, I deliberately, the spotting feature has been designed to allow people who don't have their license yet to kind of enjoy the cars, right? Like the whole spotting aspect is it's meant to be that I love when someone looks at my car, any of my
Yeah.
cars, and goes, "That's cool. I love that." Or I like what you've done with the wheels, the wheel choice, whatever. It could be anything. Um, so yeah, just having a way for someone to be like, "Boom, I've spotted your car, I've collected your car," and as the owner, you get like a notification being told, "Hey, someone's appreciated your car," and as the person who's doing the collecting, you like it sticks around. So you've got your spotted section, and it in itself is a timeline of all the cars you've seen over time. So you could go, "Oh, that meet last month, I saw this cool Sylvia, whatever," and you could just like scroll back to that and be like, "There it is," you know. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And obviously, once those kids grow up and get their license, then they've already been using it, and they chuck their own car on there, and then they get the other side of the experience, which is having their car appreciated by other people.
Yeah. I seen you've hit like 3,500 odd people using the app. Do you have an idea of where in the world they are?
Yeah, loosely. So mostly it's Victoria, Australia,
Yeah,
because that's where I am.
yeah.
But I mean, my only real marketing at the moment is going to meets and events, and obviously that's just like a local thing. But I do like boost posts on Instagram. So
Yeah, well, I think that's where I first
those
saw
are
it.
global. So that's how
Yeah.
I get people from all over using it. That said, it's still like low numbers when we're talking US, Canada, UK, New Zealand. And I also like even in Australia, in other states, people go, "Oh, can you have a meet or show up to Perth or whatnot?" And I'm just like, "Oh, like if I was doing it full time, absolutely." But because it's just one day a week, and it's not like making crazy money or anything, so it's very hard for me to commit to that. So my answer is always soon. Like once it kicks off, I'll absolutely do that. But yeah, you're right. There's like we're almost at 4,000 cars on there. It's like 3,890 or something. As of this morning, I've got a little
Yeah, I
I've
seen
got
the
a
little
little
count, I
like
think.
turbo that has the count in the center of it. So that updates all the time.
Yeah. Um, so is your only way of bringing income from the app? I saw you do the Pitloon stickers.
Yeah, so this was a conscious decision for me as well. So I again I'm making an app firstly for me. Like even if no one else was using it, I'd be like, sweet, this is useful for me, so I'm going to keep it running. And one of the things I really don't like about a lot of apps is the kind of freemium model where you can sign up and you can use an app, but then to use certain features you have to pay. You've got no option but to pay. And I thought, nah, stuff that. I'd rather Pitloon just be something that people can just use. All the functionalities there, regardless of whether you spend a cent or not. So um, with the spotting, we kind of came up with this idea where you've got think of it like a number plate. You've got a unique code that someone types in to collect your car. And when you add your car for the first time, you just get a generated one, right? So much like if you register your car, you get a generated number plate. If you register your car on Pitloon, you just get a generated spotter code. And if you want to have a personalized one, you can pay to have that. And that way we achieve, or I achieve, what I kind of set out to, which is you can use the app, you can get a decal, you can have your code written on it, you can get spotted, you can have the whole experience. But as soon as you want to personalize, then there's an opportunity for you to pay, which obviously helps me out, helps
Yeah,
keep me out
yep, yeah,
running.
for sure.
And it's quite cool because they're globally unique, right? So if you think about like obviously it's a economy of scale. When you have more people on the app, then it's more desirable to have a unique code. So at this stage, it's still like a lot of the good codes have been snapped up. Like you can't get Nissan, you can't get Toyota, you can't get 180SX. Like those codes are all gone. And I'm hoping to kind of give back to the people who have paid me early on for these codes, because I'm going to allow people to sell them on within the app. So in theory, if the app takes off, then whatever they paid for it originally, it could be worth more, right? If someone goes, "Oh, I like Pitloon, this is a good app. There's lots of people using it. I want the code 180SX. So like they might make an offer, or I haven't come up with the system yet, but there will be a way
Yeah, no, that'll be cool.
to sell them. And if you think about it, like the logic that I have is, I don't know what it's like in New Zealand, but in Victoria, number plates are like a commodity, right? Like someone gets a plate and then they go, well, like a custom plate in Victoria is worth like $600 or something like that. But the number plate with the number 1 is worth like $10 million, right? Like it's ridiculous, and it's just on someone's pretty average Mercedes, I think. But like, but the idea is like that is a unique code within Victoria, Australia, that someone's willing to pay lots and lots of money for. The codes on Pitloon are global, so like they're like in theory rarer, right? Obviously that depends on the success of the app, but that's the logic and reasoning behind these selling these codes.
Yeah.
And people own, right? Like in the app, it says here are the codes that you own. You can assign it to your car, and you can have it so people collect your car using that code.
What made you go for that instead of having like advertising within the app?
I don't like being advertised to. Like you just kind of scroll past stuff. It's just mind-numbing stuff, and I'm never going to say never in terms of ads, but my plan is to have... I've already started on some business or brand related features where a business can sign up and say, cool, this is us. And the idea is I want people who work on their own cars, or, you know, any updates they do to their cars, whether it's them who've done the work themselves or their mechanic or whatever. If you have, like, let's say an Exidy clutch, it'd be cool if you go, cool, I've chucked an Exidy clutch in my car, and you tag Exidy on that update on your car. And the beauty of this system is that other people can then very easily find what products you've put in your car via the brand. But also the brand then has this index of all the cars that use their products, right? Like often, I think, at least in the automotive world, someone will buy a product and the brand will be like, great, this person's bought this thing, and they won't know like what car it's going into necessarily, unless it's like a bespoke part. At that point, you know, there's a disconnect between the car owner and the brand. Whereas if you can then go, sweet, I chucked this product in my car, tag the business, then you're continuing that story, right?
Yeah,
so
for
I
sure.
think that's going to be really useful for businesses to have a list of cars and just be part of the community with the mods that are...
Yeah, being part of the community would be, you know, a good move,
Yeah.
I would say, for a brand. Because I did find, you know, over the last few weeks, you know, I kept looking for, you know, car-related stuff on there, and I did find an app, and then it just smashed me with two full ads, whole screen ad, not related to cars.
Yeah.
And so it took, you know, by the second one, I deleted the app because I was like, no, this is rubbish. And it made the like little close the ad X tidy, and I was like, this is rubbish. I wouldn't mind, you know, I don't mind very, like, you know, if it was car related items, you know, not junk, not the whole screen, not what obnoxious.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't mind that, especially if it's helping, you know, improve the experience. But yeah, if it's these, I think these were like Temu ads or something, and I was like,
you just like
not
you
interested.
See them, even
you can
like,
leave.
I don't know if you're like me, but I browse Marketplace like on Facebook all the time for car parts and stuff. And it's the same thing, right? It's always sneaky where the ads are designed to look like just another post by someone else. So, like, sometimes you've already clicked on it, and you're like, "Oh God!" it starts taking you away to a different app.
Yeah,
like,
I think I'm going to like start having like a list of the advertisers that do that. And I'm like, I'm not buying from that because it's so annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer the kind of like the how it's going to make money question, I think the long-term plan. So obviously the Spotto codes is great because I think, especially if the app takes off, that will hopefully keep it going. Or at least even potentially give me the opportunity to go full-time doing it for the short term. But long term, I think if I can demonstrate that being on Pitloon is a good idea for brands, automotive brands, then those are the kind of people that would pay a subscription, right? Like a brand would pay $20 a month to be on Pitloon so people can tag their business whenever they chuck their parts in their cars, right? And that might be enough. And if that's enough, then I'll stop there. Like, I don't need to go, let's chuck ads on as well. So there is a potential future where Pitloon literally just is completely adless. Like, and you're right. Even if I did do it, it would be very automotive specific ones. But I don't think so. Like, it's really not the plan. If I can avoid it, I 100% will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, fine. That's actually quite a good, having the payment from the other side from like the companies is
yeah, because
not
like at the end of the day, like businesses are paying for data left, right, and center, right, on people's. I just want to have an app that has everything above board where you can you have full control of what you chuck on, and the businesses will obviously see your vehicles, and if you've tagged them, great, they'll know that there's a Exity clutch in your Toyota Hilux, like the one I've got behind me here. So like that kind of, I feel like that is a very above board interaction between brands and car enthusiasts. I don't think anyone would have an issue with that.
Yeah. What sort of, I don't know if you can give me an actual, what is like the back end of something like that cost? Like
Yeah, totally. So I currently pay, so everything at the moment is hosted on Amazon Web Services. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I have heard of that before, but
unfortunately run by Jeff Bezos. Don't come for me, Jeff, but it's a good system. It has essentially all the features that I need. So often apps are built with like bits taken from all over the place, or features that are required from all over the place. But AWS has essentially everything I need, and I pay them about $250 a month. And that's not to say that's the kind of final price. The way it's been set up,
it'd be a scale, like a sliding scale, wouldn't it? Yeah.
You're exactly right. So the way the app is set up is it kind of runs on a certain number of instances, which is just like, think of them almost like computers. And when it detects that the load on those instances has hit a certain threshold, it'll just add more. Right, so it's like turning up the horsepower in your car, right? Putting more boost in to keep it going. So if that happens, like if someone famous was like, "Hey, everyone, go check out Pitloon," then in theory, we haven't tested it yet, so fingers crossed. But in theory, it would all just kind of continue to work. We wouldn't crash the site or anything like that. It would just cost me more. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's because it's only image based. Image and text, really, isn't it? You haven't got anything video heavy, because that would get quite, it would get far more data heavy.
Yeah, so what happens at the moment is when someone uploads an image, it creates like a scaled down version of it. So if someone's just scrolling through, they'll only ever see the low res version, and that's again for exactly as you're alluding to there. I want the app to be snappy and for it to work quickly for people, but also bandwidth costs money. So if you've got thousands of users that are all loading like full res photos, then it costs more. And the point about videos, again, I'll never say never, but it's just magnitudes more data that needs to be handled on my side. But not only that, it's also in terms of moderation. I often think about features in terms of, what if someone nefarious started using the app and started doing bad stuff? Like how much damage could they do? And I think with a video, you can do a lot more damage than with just photos. So that's also on my mind as well. Being just a one-person operation, I can't have my eyes on everything all the time. So I need to be able to quickly react if that happens.
Yeah, being a one-person operation, do you I don't know how much. Do you ever use like AI and stuff to help? Like, can it do stuff to help
That's,
with
that's an
the.
interesting point. So, in the dev world, like we've embraced AI pretty well, and what I mean by that is like the editor that a lot of people use, or I guess there's various editors that will people use to write code. There's a lot of plugins and add-ons that are all just AI related now. So, before AI got really popular, we were using just like code completions. So it's like almost like when you're like writing a message to someone and you autocomplete just tell you what the word is that you're about to write, you'd be like, yeah, that's it, right? So that's not AI, that's just like predicting what what you're about to type or what you're currently typing. So that existed already in terms of writing code. AI just does that, but like it kind of predicts more, if that makes sense. Like instead of predicting the very next word that you're about to write, it almost predicts the next like sentence. If I'm talking in code language, like, but yeah, it predicts the next method or whatever you're about to write. So yes, I use that absolutely, and I'd be surprised if like most devs wouldn't use that. It's really really common, but I actually find that it's not that great. Like I often will like it's good if it ends up being correct, but most of the time you go, oh, I see what you're doing, but you end up changing it.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm lucky just because of the experience I have. I've been a dev for 8 years, so I can look at it and go, no, that's not exactly right, and change it. Whereas someone who is, starting doing this kind of stuff, you might just accept it, and it might work, but you'll end up at some point, it'll bite you eventually because you'll have bugs and issues and all that kind of stuff down the line. So TLDR, yeah, I use it, but like it's on and off relationship with AI.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I saw, when I was on there before, you've got like
Yeah,
a
this
feed
is
set up now, so it's getting a bit more social.
yeah. So this is something that I have tried to like not avoid, but Pitloon for me has never been a social media app. Like I'm not trying to when people go, oh, it's Instagram for cars. Like, no, like the core functionality is you as a car enthusiast can have a profile for each of your vehicles and keep track of all the stuff that you do, right? That's like a really nice way of just documenting everything that's happened to your car and then sharing that with people and letting other people kind of uh, when they're in person at a meet looking at the car, they can collect it, spot it, send a photo to you directly. um, so the feed came about because I found I was because I have like an admin backend where I can see when people update their cars. I personally was like, oh, that's cool. I was looking at the updates that other people were doing to their cars. I was like, well, if I'm enjoying looking at just like, random, oh, I changed the exhaust on this car or whatever kind of posts, then. And when I say posts, it's really just the updates that people are putting on their own car's timeline. Like, you're not doing it to, like, advertise yourself or whatever. You're just doing it for you. So that's what the Pitloon feed is, and will continue to be. Like on Instagram, you post because you're saying, "Hey, look at this thing that I did." The reason you're posting is for attention, ultimately, right? Whereas the Pitloon feed, it is generated. So when you work on your car and add updates to your car's timeline, Pitloon then gets that, bundles it up, and then publishes it to the feed. So it feels, I mean, maybe I'm talking out my ass here, so like, feel free to just be like, all right, mate. But like, I think it's that intention. It's like, I'm working on my car and here's the stuff I've done to it, and other people can be like, sick, right? As opposed to, look at me, here's some like roller shots of my car or whatever. Like, it just feels a little bit different. So, yeah, the feed will continue to be just this like list of things that have happened in other areas of the app. Like, here's stuff that people are doing on Pitloon, not here is what people are posting to the feed. And I think
Yeah,
there's a nuance there.
yeah. Well, I guess being very car specific, it'll keep like because a lot of time when you're scrolling on other apps, it just gets into like absolute rubbish, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Just
what is
random
this?
stuff. You kind of go down a rabbit hole. You're like, wow, how did I get
But
here?
at least when it's all car related, and gives you a bit more motivation to just do your own thing.
Yeah, yeah. So there's two things that post to the feed currently, and it'll probably expand. But when someone adds loons, which is the updates to their car, it just kind of aggregates those and puts them into one post, so to speak. So you can kind of look at everything someone's done to their car in the last 24 hours will be on a single post. So also it prevents spam as well. Like, you're not going to get one person being like, I did X, Y, Z. It's like, cool, that's great. That's all now in just a single post. So you're not just getting inundated with one car. The other thing is, and I'm keen to like see this get used a bit more, which is when someone spots your car, if they leave what I call a spotto moment, which is like the message or photo, that also gets posted to the feed. So it means that if you have an event where there's a car that's on Pitloon and you have a bunch of people collect it, you'll get, maybe a photographer take a nice photo, you'll get someone who's not a photographer take just a selfie with the car. All of those will get posted to, again, one post being like, car X was spotted 10 times and here's all the little photos that people left. And I think that's really, like, that's a good feeling, right? Like, you want to see that it's like, this is the car, but like through the eyes of other people at an event or whatever.
Yeah. Is there, I don't know how much of a mission would be to have like an events thing in there.
Oh, so I'm working on that. It's funny, to motivate myself, this might feel backwards, but I was like, all right, I know what kind of sections, or like, the navigation at the bottom of an app. I pretty quickly settled on what sections I wanted to exist. I was like, all right, it's got you've got garage, you've got your spotted, and you got your feed, and then you've got events, and then the shop. So before I had even written any code related to events, I put the navigation right in there. And it sounds backwards, right? It's like, why would you put it there if you haven't written the thing? And I was like, well, it motivates me. I see it there and I'm just like, it doesn't work yet. And if you click on it right now, I've just got like a list of manually added events for places, like events that I'm going to be at. But yeah, for me, that works as a motivating factor. And before the end of the year, I reckon I'll have an event section where you can find events local to you and you can say you're attending. And obviously because it's all car related, I'll have some more car specific stuff where you can say, oh, I'm bringing this car. So someone can go, oh, what cars are going to be at this event? Which is something you can't really do on Facebook.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I just want to add, my own, magic to events, which will make them a little bit more exciting, at least for car people. So yeah, watch this space soon.
Yeah, no, that's all good. What sort of events have you been rolling up to? I've seen you've been at, you got a big Pitloon gazebo.
Yeah, got the gazebo, got the marquee. Yeah, I got that end of last year, started using it at the start of this year. Just local car meets. I just had to reach out to people and go, hey, I see you've got this thing that's happening. And when I say local car meets, I mean like the step up from, hey, everyone, let's just catch up on a Friday night. Yeah. It's like it's slightly more organized. Like there's a business who is in the automotive scene and they're like, on this day, we are hosting this and there's going to be a coffee truck and there's going to be some vendors and that kind of thing. So that level of event, I kind of reached out to a bunch of people and was just like, hey, I've got this thing that I've made and I've got a marquee and whatnot. Can I show up and set up? So yeah, some really, really lovely people said yes. And since then I've just kind of done a bunch of those. I have done a bunch of paid vendor spots as well. And those ones are sometimes a little bit hard to digest because the cost gets up there. But I've had some really, really good experiences just chatting to people who have no idea what the app is, and then they see me at an event, and it's really hard to kind of put a value to that experience, right? Like if you spend $500 being a vendor at some event that is 5 hours, let's say, and you don't make that money back by selling stuff, but you have 50 people who now know what the app is and they follow you on Insta and all that kind of stuff, right? Like I, I, I found that, and this is why I keep doing the boosted reels on and stuff on Instagram, is for 90% of people who view it, great, you get a new follower, you get some likes, maybe some people join the app, whatever. But there will be these people who are kind of like, I don't want to say influencers, but people who in their own little group of friends are that kind of vocal person who says, guys, look at this sick thing, right? And when you like get those people, they are so interactive. They're just like, man, I love what you've done. Like, this is really cool. You just get a message like that. And then suddenly like them and all their friends are using it. And you're just like, that's great. So just for those people, and I know there's obviously lots and lots of them out there, it's worth doing these things.
Yeah, I can. Well, I just imagine in my head how much work this would have been to put something like this together. So, I think whenever I see people, doing things like that, you're just like, that deserves a bit of respect and attention, because, yeah, the hours you must put in would be crazy.
Yeah, my partner she's very forgiving and sees the vision as well, and obviously helps out with the stall and that kind of thing. So I think yeah, my sleep is sometimes affected, and my schedule is often affected because I can't really do other stuff if I've booked in for. I was looking at my weekends for the next 2 months, like October to November. I have next weekend off, and then like one weekend in November, and that's it. And I've got events just back to back to back. So yeah, busy.
When you go to an event and you look at the your background metrics afterwards, can you see like do you often see a little uptick in the sign-ups or the whatever you use to?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you'll see just like a bump of sign-ups from the day. Obviously, I quite often like do make sales and have people buy. Like, one of the things I do is I say at the Pitloon stall, everything's 50% off, because I want people to see that Pitloon is going to be at an event and go, I want to show up, right? Like, I want to be there because, I mean, obviously the whole interaction using the app, that kind of thing, but also just, hey, I want to buy this spotto code or get a decal or whatever, and I don't want to pay full price on the app, so I'm just going to show up to the meet and get half price. So yeah, I do see an uptick in users, and yeah, so far it seems to be working, right? Like having that incentive for people to show up is good.
Yeah, so that'd keep you pretty motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's nice having like, I mean, when I got the marquee done, there's a point where you start to feel legit, if that makes sense. Like, when it was just a website, you're just like, I'm just a dude who's like done this thing and I've come up with this concept and whatever. Like, I don't expect people to give a shit about it. But then you just start having interactions with people and you go, oh, cool. All right, I've made enough money to buy a printed marquee, have the full logo and everything, and do that rigmarole. And then, yeah, you show up to an event and you're a vendor. Like, you're a business now. There's people who treat you like that, and you kind of like, well, I gotta walk the walk now. So,
Show up in a suit and tie.
yeah. So, I mean, if I ever do that, tell me that I've lost my way, because I'm a skater kid from back in the day. So you'll see me wearing etnies and skinny jeans and that kind of stuff. That's my style.
I was gonna, there's good cup. Well, if there's anything else you want to like mention about the app, otherwise I was gonna see how you originally got into cars.
Yeah. Let me think. No, there's nothing really. I mean, I'm just happy to have a chat, to be honest. I'm sure after this, I'll be like, oh, I should have mentioned this, but that's totally fine. Like, for anyone listening, just chuck us a follow on Instagram. Not because I care about Instagram followers, just because that's where I put my updates for like, things that change on the app and that kind of stuff. But yeah, how'd I get into cars? So I am a child of the 90s and early 2000s, and that means I was exposed to things like video games like Need for Speed and Gran Turismo. So that was my formative years. and I've always been into like tinkering and making stuff. Like Lego Technic might sound silly, but like when
Yeah.
you do that as a kid, like that actually like indoctrinates you into tinkering and making things. But then yeah, the classic like Fast and Furious movies and whatnot. Like I would have been uh, a young teenager at that point, very impressionable. So, yeah, I just from that was just like into cars. Obviously, got a bunch of friends who are also into cars. Like that makes a difference. Like if I was the only person in my friend group who was into cars, it probably wouldn't have turned out this way. But having a group of people who are also into it, you know, before we had our licenses, we'd still like go and hang out and check out cars and go to meets and that kind of thing. And then, yeah, my first car actually was just, I mean, being in Australia, it was a Ford Falcon,
Yeah.
automatic, unfortunately, but it was a XR6
Yeah.
B8.
Oh, but yeah.
Yep. So it had the Barra engine in it, non-turbo,
Those
obviously.
things are New Zealand's favourite skid pigs now, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
whenever you see like a Hoon boy racer story, it's
Yep,
BA Falcons. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, they've just got. I mean, even in their naturally aspirated form, they've got enough power to skids. But yeah, I soon that was my first car, and then I think after about 3 years, I sold it because oh yeah, it would have been the classic going off my probationary license, so getting off my P's. So you're obviously restricted on power to weight and that kind of stuff at that stage, and then when you're on full license, then you go for it. So I actually got the stag, as I call it, while I was still on my P plates, but because it's a JDM wagon, the police don't know what they're looking at, so no one batted an eye at the white wagon, even though it's got a big wing on the back. But yeah, definitely wasn't allowed to drive that on my P plates because it's a twin turbo RB26. But yeah, so that's the story of how I got into cars.
Yeah. And then how do you get into code? Like, so where
Yeah,
does the
so
coding come
I
into it?
yeah, so I did a degree at uni, which was just a comp sci, like computer science course. But whenever you do one of those courses, they always get you to specialize in something, right? And what I mean by specialize, I mean you you do like 8 subjects during the year, and like 2 of them are specific to the thing that you want to do, right? So it's a very generalist thing, but I chose games programming because I was like, I like video games, let's do it. So yeah, I did that, and that was like 3 years degree. Finished it, and then I found that being a games programmer is I liken it to being like a musician or an artist,
Yeah.
where I'm sure like the people who do it love it, right? It's their passion. It's what they want to do. But to be successful, it's like less than 5% of people in those industries like make it. Or when I say make it, like can do it as a full-time gig. They make enough money to, support themselves doing it. And games programming is the same. You'll see people make a video game who, do really well on Steam. If Steam is the
Yeah, yeah. I,
platform.
I do a bit of gaming.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
used to do a bit more,
So
but yeah.
those are the success stories, right? But for every one of those, there's probably 90 people who have tried their hand at making their own
Oh,
video game or
when you see
whatever.
all the not so popular games on Steam.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's just a slog. So I think early on I realized, man, if it's going to be hard work trying to do this games thing. So I did the safe thing and kind of redirected to web dev. So when you're a programmer, developer, whatever, it's all very similar, right? Like if you're a car guy, you could work on any car. Sure, there's a little bit of, learning and getting up to speed, but if you've worked on American muscle cars in the past, you could jump onto a Honda Civic and figure that out pretty quickly. Like you know how a car works. And that's how dev works as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there was a little bit of like, okay, got to like adjust what I'm doing here, but yeah, got a job in web dev, and then 8 years later, here I am. So, yeah.
Looking back at that, getting a web dev thing, if you were going to do an app again, like, do you think you'd do something different instead of starting off as a web dev? Would there be a better?
Yeah. It's hard to say because I definitely can't negate the experience that I have. So that my job, so I'm a senior back-end engineer at my current job, and we deal like it's a big app and there's lots of users and it's a big problem if things don't work or if someone's privacy is breached or anything like that. So I have this just heap of experience, thankfully, like I'm lucky to have this in areas that are like I think ultimately important when making apps. So uh I think if I had gone down a different path, maybe I'd be better at making apps, like as a whole, by myself, if that makes sense. Like, I've had to learn a lot of stuff to do the stuff I've done with Pitloon, but I think I'd still, like, I'd lose out in the stuff I've learned already with my current experience and my current job. And maybe that would bite me in the ass in the future where like I hadn't secured something properly or I hadn't considered something that would like break the app if like, 10,000 people joined all at once or something like that. So it's really hard to say. So I don't think so necessarily.
Yeah. So are a lot of apps? Well, I don't know if that's, but are they more or less websites? A lot of them, is that where it's sort of come from?
I don't know what the split is, to be honest, but if someone was like a solo developer and they were doing the like bespoke version of each thing, then that's a crazy amount of work and knowledge that you have to have in each of those areas. So I suspect that more and more apps these days are kind of set up in the way that Pitloon is, just because cost, right? Like, I'm doing this at my own expense, but if you were an investor and you were paying someone to make something like this, again, it would be cheaper to have one person be able to do all three things versus paying three people to make them separately. So the thing that you lose out on by doing it this way is there's a lot of features that are specific to the mobile platform that it's a lot harder to do if you do it this way, because you're dancing around actually writing a full iOS app or a full Android app. So then if you go, oh, now I want to add this feature which is like super specific to how iOS like functions and all that kind of stuff, then like you're kind of backtracking to achieve that. So yeah, it doesn't come without like its downsides, but look, the stuff that you can do on a web browser these days is kind of wild. Like even I don't know if you've seen, there's like 3D animations that I've got in Pitloon where like your card flips over.
Oh yeah.
That stuff is all just stuff you can do in the web, right? That's not something that can only be done on mobile. So yeah.
Because would it be something like if you wanted to take a photo in the app? Is that more?
Yeah, like that's a great example. Yes. So I could do that on Pitloon. You could have it so you can like take a photo, but all that's going to do is open up what I call like the native like photo taking thing. Whereas if you think about when you take a photo or upload a reel or something directly using Instagram, it's got this own custom UI, right? Yeah. Like it has this. It's not like you've just opened the camera app. It's got its own Instagram take on it. So doing that is the hard part. That's the you need a skilled iOS developer to do that.
I guess that's kind of like the people who design the engines or whatever. That's like a whole nother level of screws and bolts and stuff. That So what sort of things can we look for in the future on Pitloon?
Yeah. So one thing that I'm excited for is I really want. There's two types of people that are kind of prominent in the car industry. You see heaps on Instagram, right? So one is brands. We've already talked about that. Is just getting automotive businesses on board and have something for them to do on the app. So I'm pretty confident that at least I'm keen to implement what I've got in my head into the app and just see how they go using it. And the other is photographers. You'll see just automotive Instagram is photographers, photographers, photographers. And you've probably seen, you've gone to a meet and you've seen cars that just have their Instagram handle on their car, and that's like, cool, like tag me in photos or whatever. And I thought, man, with the way that Pitloon does spotting, it'd be really cool for a photographer to get some kind of recognition within the app for taking a really nice photo of someone's car, right? So already when you collect someone's car on Pitloon, you can send them a photo. You can take a photo, go, hey, here's the photo I took of your car, and it ends up on the Spotto timeline. Great. But most of the time, it's just going to be someone like me who's pretty average with the camera, and it's just me taking a selfie or whatever, and it's just, I want to have this moment, on the timeline. Great. But if a photographer spotted a car on Pitloon and then they took a bunch of photos, they went home and did some editing and uploaded a really, really nice photo of the car for the car owner, I was like, wow, it'd be cool if the owner could kind of recognize that. If they could do something that goes, wow, that is a great photo that you've taken of my car. And I haven't fully settled on the name yet, but I'm going to call it, I think, boosting, where you acknowledge the photo and you boost it onto your own timeline. So right now your car has two timelines. One is like the timeline that you've written, which is the mods, service history, all that kind of stuff. And the other is just the Spotto timeline. So other people like collecting your car, and that's where the photos normally live. And if you look at a photo and go, oh my God, like this would be great as my display picture on the app. Currently you can't take a photo that someone else has taken and make it your display picture for the car. But with this new feature, you will be able to. So you go, great, this is an amazing photo. You boost the photo and that kind of copies it across onto the actual timeline of the car. It becomes part of the car's like legit history. And then obviously the photographer is tagged on the on that post, and you can set it as your display picture. So that's going to be, I'm excited for that. I think it'd be really cool for photographers to like get on board and have a way for them to get recognized for taking really good photos.
Yeah, it'd also be cool if, I'm not sure how this works, but if you could do like a higher resolution version that the photographers can upload, that the person could use as their phone background, or if they wanted to
totally
do something like that, would be pretty.
I'm showing my game developer influence here, but I've added achievements to the app where
I did see that.
I realized that you want to have like an onboarding process for people. You want to kind of encourage them to use the app. And I thought achievements was kind of cool, because if someone uses the app for the first time and they add their car, then they're like, well, what do I do next? And you've got the achievements there that kind of says, hey, here's the next thing you could do, like spot someone else's car, or add 10 loons to your car's timeline. So it's meant to kind of direct people down that path. So I'm going to keep using achievements to like encourage people to do stuff. Right. And one of the achievements I think will be for photographers is whenever someone like boosts your Spotto moment, it'll be like, hey, if you've got 10 of those, now you're like a certified photographer or whatever on Pitloon, right? So like if you've had enough people kind of recognize the photos that you've taken, then maybe that'll unlock that ability to upload like higher res photos or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure like with the gamification, there's endless possibilities. You could get like the Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, that when you open the app. That might be a copyright issue actually, but I was just thinking that'd bring back some memories.
Yeah, it's like MySpace where you could set a backing track for your profile. Do you remember that? So it's like when someone
I'm sure that's a whole other level of copyright. Fucking
yeah.
But no, that'd be super cool. Some other things.
So there's a bunch of stuff. Like at the moment, like I'm definitely not limited for ideas, and I've spoken to a lot of people who because it's just me. Like you can kind of get lost in your own bubble. and I thought, okay, cool. I need to reach out to people and say, hey, what do you think of this? Like, give me your thoughts on Pitloon. Like, is this a good idea, or at least just get an outsider's perspective. Um, and a lot of people have just said, look, make sure that whatever you're doing is just for car people, right? Like, you're not like people aren't idiots. They can see when you're taking the piss, or trying to extract dollars out of people when it's just not necessary. So a lot of the features that I make or whatever I implement, I kind of try to put it through that lens and go, all right, is this actually something that people are going to find useful? Is it helpful for the community?
Yeah. Is like extra help something you have tried to look for, or you just sort of want to try to do it on your own?
It's so I've reached out to a handful of people, and some people got back to me and given me advice. So yes, I have like actively sought out people, but I've also had a group of people who I guess are already part of my network of people I know. I get because I've been a software dev for a while. There's people I know who've written successful apps and gone through the process in it. Well, not the exact same, but gone through a similar process to what I'm going through here. So yeah, it's always good just to seek advice from those kind of people, because you don't have to take advice on board, but at least getting the opinion of someone else makes you stop and think and go, okay, is what I'm about to do the right thing, or should I consider this instead? So like an example of that is still very early days. Like even now it's early days with Pitloon, but like end of last year, start of this year, I reached out to someone and was talking about investment and whether I should start like looking to find some to then, what that would give me is the ability to go to full-time working on Pitloon sooner. But then obviously the downside to that is, well, suddenly there's more than one person at the party in terms of directing what happens with the app. And their advice was hold on to it 100% as long as you can. Like if the right person shows up to jump on board, then amazing, that's great. But like don't actively seek it unless it's like make or break that has to happen. So that's why I still have a job. I still, earn money elsewhere and do Pitloon as a side gig. And yeah, I'll be very, well, I hope. It's hard to know what the future holds, but I'll try to be very careful with the decisions I make in terms of bringing people on board if, someone wanted to partner with me or invest or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds all very good. Or might, well, if people want to, obviously they can go download Pitloon if they want to. Otherwise, what are some good ways to follow you on Instagram?
So I'm just at Pitloon Garage on Instagram. That's really my main outlet at the moment. But yeah, definitely download the app. It's on the App Store. It's on the Play Store, so you should be able to get it just fine. I actually, I had a TikTok reel that kind of went off, and for a brief moment, I was top 5 free automotive apps in Australia, which is kind of cool. So that's my little claim to fame, at least recently. But yeah, just download the app, use it, enjoy it, reach out to me. Like I've had so many people give me advice or like feature suggestions just through Instagram or whatever, just saying, hey, it'd be cool if we could do this. So I absolutely take that on board. Like whether I implement it straight away or not, it goes on a to-do list of like, people have mentioned this, and maybe if enough people mention something, then it goes higher up the priority list.
I think that was my first thing when I messaged you, because I was like, oh, this is a cool app, but something wasn't working quite right, and I was like, yeah.
And that's the benefit of me like doing it myself. It's not like this is not some app that's being outsourced to some other country or whatever. Like I literally could jump on my laptop like after this call and like just make some changes and make it live within 10 minutes, So it's not, I think that's the other thing that a lot of apps don't have, which is this like direct connection to like between the person and the app itself and its functionality. You have to go through hoops and whatever to make some changes or address some feedback. But for me, no, I literally just write it in my spare time and push updates and hope for the best.
Well, thank you for this. We will catch you another time, and we'll continue using that.
When we hit 10,000, maybe we can jump on another call again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be sick. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Leighton.